What's going on? It's Astronaut H, and this is the What More Do You Want Network. Now, in this video, I will be discussing the Houston Rockets now that their season has ended in 7 games versus the Golden State Warriors. For me, I think the Houston Rockets have a lot of things to address, mainly being the non-existent play of Jalen Green. That's number one. Let's get into it. I think Jalen Green is a great young talent. I think he's a talented piece to a puzzle. Now, after this series versus the Warriors, he did have a 38-point performance in game 2, but that was the only time where he looked comfortable in the game that Jimmy Butler did not play. Outside of that, it was games where he just did not perform well, especially in the last game where he only scored 8 points. I say all that to say, I think the Houston Rockets' number one task at hand should be to trade Jalen Green. Now, I know some Houston Rocket fans may be thinking like, well, he's a part of our young core, our catalyst for the future. I don't think that's to be true. I think Alperen Sengun has showed, being an all-star, being the one that is willing to put the team on his back, that it's time to do a full-on build around him. Now, can Green, coexist with Sengun? Of course, but I think Jalen Green needs a fresh start at this stage of his career. I think it's time. I think it's time. I think it's overdue, because you can't be a number one, or dare I say the number 2 option, and put up 8 points. That's not acceptable to a team that's the number 2 seed, a team that played very well during the regular season, a team that was ranked in the tops in defense. You're going to have to figure out where you need to plug these holes. Another hole that they have, I feel like, is shooting. At times versus the Golden State Warriors, their offense was non-existent. Yes, they did make a run late and make it a lot closer than it actually was down the stretch. But I feel like they need guys that can actually score, and score at a very high clip. Yes, Fred VanVleet is streaky. He's good. But how far do you trust guys that are not consistent? If you are, if you are the Houston Rockets, how do you not, at least look outward and see what's to be? It could be a trade with Phoenix and bringing Kevin Durant into Houston. It could be a trade with Milwaukee to bring Giannis to Houston. So I see them making moves. I see them making a splash this summer, because Ime Udoka is a coach that knows what it takes to get it done. At least get there. Not win it, but at least get there. Get those group of guys believing in the betterment of the team and what makes the team better, and et cetera, et cetera. When you look at this Houston Rockets team, they're youthful. They still got other pieces to the puzzle. They have Amen Thompson, who's a great young player, very athletic. Again, the all-star Alperen Sengun. Now, make no mistake, I'm not saying Jalen Green deserves to be traded because he's a bum. I think he deserves to be traded because when you are on some of the biggest stages and you're not able to perform, what does that say about the coaching staff, the game plan, things like that? Yes, we could blame the coach, but the player has to make adjustments as well. The player has to make adjustments. If they're trapping you, if they're sending 2 at you every time you get the basketball, you got to move, to make you get yourself open. But I feel like, even in me saying that, he's one of those players that's going to have to take what just happened in this series personal. That's it. The entire team is going to have to take what they see personal, because if you're going to be able to compete for titles some point, is going to have those conversations. That's just what it is. You look at a team in Memphis number 2. The team that they were looking up at was the Oklahoma City Thunder. I feel like if the Oklahoma City Thunder would have played the Houston Rockets would have been swept. So that's that. As far as the, where I think Jalen will go, I think don't be surprised if you hear Phoenix, Milwaukee, dare I say Chicago, New Orleans. Don't be surprised. It's going to be an accent price, and it's going to be teams putting, their best package together for a Jalen Green, because they know what he can be because he's so young. So, I don't know what this Houston Rockets roster will look like going into next season, what moves they will make going into the offseason, but they have to address the Jalen Green situation first and foremost, and I feel like they can move on afterwards from there. Another thing about this series that I feel like the Houston Rockets didn't capitalize on was the double. I don't feel like the double big lineup was made too much of a pressing issue for them. I feel like they did it sparingly, and when they did do it, it worked. I would have liked to see Sengun and Adams like really together on the floor. Like, yes, they were together on the floor at times and moments, but I would really like to see that, because that could take a lot of pressure off of Sengun to actually like crash the boards constantly. And I get it, Steven Adams is a liability at some point offensively, but you're going to have to play him. They did, in this series, but I mean, more minutes, getting more acclimated. So if he is playing during the playoffs, he's pretty much ready in those instances. So I like the Fred VanVleet move that they made. Fred VanVleet can be streaky at times. He can be streaky, but I like that move. Jalen Green, the jury is out on him currently. You look at him, great player, and you look at Alperen Sengun. I think they have a really, really good, nucleus. You still have Jabari Smith. You still have Tari Eason. Cam Whitmore. Of course, there was things going on with him. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. What they do with this young core. Do they package it up, bottle it up, and send it to Phoenix for Kevin Durant? That could be a possibility. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Houston Rocket fans, NBA fans, basketball fans, or if this is just your first time tuning into the channel, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell to know anytime a video is being uploaded to this channel. It's Astronaut H. This is the What More Do You Want Network, and I catch you guys on the next video.